second one which we make use of is what is called the descriptive models. What do we mean by descriptive models? We look at two types of descriptive models. One is the macro, second is the micro. When we say macro, we are looking at a holistic level, that is a picture at the holistic level. Suppose you consider sales as the dependent variable. You may look at national income, you may look at average price and company advertising expenditure as independent variables. These are the links which explain the variations in the dependent variable. Again, you still may resort to a multiple regression analysis. So when you are looking at a macro picture, you specify minimum number of links. You don't specify too many links. You specify those links which are very important for consideration. On the other hand, when you come to micro, what is going to happen is you specify more links. So you expand, giving more links to the micro model, micro descriptive model. In addition to the micro model, you may use something like the micro behavioral model. What is this micro behavioral model? This is where operations research comes to the help of marketing. So ultimately, note that everything revolves, whether it is the statistical bank or the descriptive models, the ones which we go further like the decision models or the heuristic method or the linear mathematical models. All of them are concerned with markets. We are ultimately looking at the markets only, because markets dictate the survival of the firm or the demise of the firm. So in a competitive market, a firm has to survive the competition. When it has to survive the competition, you have to look at all these models to help it keep its self-assured or keep its neck out in the whole marketplace, that is neck up in the marketplace. You cannot keep your neck down in the marketplace because there is stiff competition. Then you will be bulldozed by the other players. So whatever it calls for, whether it is market research or analytical marketing system or the different types of models which we are discussing, the company has to adopt. In other words, marketing plays a very important key to the survival of the firm. So this is what we are seeing in a city like Bangalore. If you look at the Silicon Valley, where you have so many software firms, what are they looking at? They are looking at all these types of models day in and day out, and they are giving it the name of marketing analytics, big data, all those types of things. So essentially they are looking at these types of models to find out how does the consumer behave. If you really see, even in a World Cup cricket match, so many analytical models were designed to find out what should be the optimum timing of an advertisement which should come, which will not distract unduly the viewer, but still remain in the mind of the viewer. So all these types of things are coming under the realm of marketing analytics. So the micro behavior model makes use of the OR models. The OR models are basically, these two are commonly made use of. One is called the Markov process. The second is called the queuing models. So what are you trying to do in these models? Suppose there are so many servers giving the same type of service. Then if you are in the queue, which server is likely to serve you comes in this whole model scenario. So server 1, server 2, server 3, and how much time he is going to take for you for the service. So you are looking at the average waiting time in the queue plus the service time that is spent by the server on you. In the whole process, what are you getting? You are getting what is the time that you spend for one customer for one service. So this is where many of these, if you look at the airport Bangalore, the Kempegowda International Airport, now you see so many planes landing. It is almost 1 in 2 minutes. There is a landing of a plane 1 in 2 minutes, and many of these planes are again taking off. So when you see these planes landing, the passengers have to disembark from the aircraft, then their luggages have to come to the different conveyor belts, then the aircraft has to be cleaned, kept in good condition for the set of consumers or customers to embark the aircraft. It moves to the next destination. So all this takes place in a very systematic manner, and when you are looking at an analytical model, you are looking at so many factors in this process which are likely to disturb the turnaround time of the aircraft, that is, increase the turnaround time of the aircraft. Any link in that supply chain, suppose it causes some disturbance, then the time taken for that particular supply chain activity will increase. The result is the turnaround time for the aircraft is likely to increase. The next type of models that we are going to look at makes use of mathematical routines. These are called decision models or optimization models using mathematical routines. These mathematical routine models can be categorized under 4 categories. One is differential calculus, second is mathematical programming, third is Bayesian analysis, fourth is game theory. We will look at some of these models when we go along. The other types of models that you can make use of is what is called the heuristic models. What is this heuristic models? They make use of computational routines. Many times you write an algorithm to solve a particular situation. So you write an algorithm and that algorithm goes through different routines, and this gives you how the dependent variable is going to get affected. These different computational routines many times may make use of different aspects like the branching or the looping wherever it is required. Okay, so this is the other set of models. The last set of models which we make use of in marketing is the mathematical models. What does this mathematical models give? It looks at linear and non-linear. It is linear regression, non-linear regression. Linear regression means it follows a straight path. Non-linear, it does not follow a straight path. Then we may look at static model and dynamic model. Static model where we look at one particular time horizon. A dynamic model, we are looking at different time horizons. It is a continuous one. Then you may look at a deterministic model or a stochastic model. What is a deterministic model? You are making use of the different attributes of the product to determine, that is to say exactly how much the dependent variable is going to influence. So it is a deterministic probability. What is a stochastic probability? In fact, when you look at deterministic probability, that probability itself is not there. It is the whole, whatever you have arrived at is deterministic. Suppose you say this particular variable is going to influence the demand by 25%. You are determined, or you have found out that this is the variation that is going to come with respect to the demand using this particular variable. When you use the stochastic method, you attribute a probability for that. You say this may affect the demand say by 20%. So you give a probability of 0.2 for that, Then you look at the other different variables, give them different probabilities. When you give all these different probabilities, you are looking at an LP, that is a linear programming model, making use of a stochastic process. That stochastic process makes use of different probabilities to address a situation. So these are the different types of models that you are going to look at in an analytical marketing system. So just to recap all this, we make use of statistical banks. The statistical banks help in developing a model bank. These statistical banks basically make use of multiple regression, discriminant analysis, factor analysis, cluster analysis, and conjoint analysis. When we move to the descriptive models, we look at two types of models initially. That is, we look at macro models where the links are limited. Then we look at the micro model where the links are more. Then we may want to again look at a micro behavioral model. We look at the behavioral picture also. So you have more links, you have the behavioral aspect coming in. So there the OR portions coming, and here we make use of the Markov process and the queuing models. When we look at the decision models, we are looking basically at the optimization models. These optimization models look at differential calculus, that is, make use of differential calculus, mathematical programming, Bayesian analysis, and game theory. These are called mathematical routines. Then we may also make use of heuristic models when we use computational routines. Then again, we may also make use of mathematical models where we use the linear programming and the nonlinear programming. It can be static or dynamic. It can be deterministic or stochastic, depending on the type of models that you are solving. So these are basically the vast gamut of analytical marketing system activity that is taking place in the realm of marketing in the present day context. All this is getting grouped under this broad terminology called marketing analytics. So any recruiter in the present day is looking at analytics. It is looking at, I recruit this person. How useful is this person going to be for the organization? Kindly note that everything revolves around marketing, and he is looking at your usefulness to solve many of the marketing related issues which might come in. So basically he is trying to address how you can improve the sales for him, and consequently how his profits can improve. Kindly note that no firm is functioning in vacuum. No firm is trying to say everything I am doing for a non-profit activity. No, a business is a profit-making activity. Whether one likes to say it or not, you have to look at business as a profit-making activity. And in a business situation, it is not considered bad to make profits out of a business. In fact, right now, the more profits you make, the more you are contributing to the GDP of the nation. Okay, so this is a type of scenario which you are likely to have. So this broad field of marketing analytics addressing all these questions. Then when you are looking at a scenario where large amount of data is coming in with respect to the organization. So the size of the organization increases. Sometimes the size might be medium also, but still the data that you may have to handle might be very large. So that is where you make use of your big data analytics. So all these coming under the terminology of analytical marketing systems. So we stop here. We will continue in the next class. Okay. Thank you.